Hello, friends. Here we go again. The face. It's in pretty good shape. I'm going to adjust the lip just a little bit. Yesterday I was kind of working my way around to talking about what is real. I know this is why you come here. Watching me struggle to draw and talk about semi-philosophical BS. But so a couple of years ago, cartoonist in Europe named Ramon Perales and Strangers Publishing put together this anthology called The Book of Fooligan. And it was a very cool looking thing. It had a Kickstarter campaign and I backed it. And I saw the finished book recently. It's almost ready to ship. I'll have it soon. Very excited for it though. And it just had such a cool look. It looked so good. And it's one of those things where I didn't know what they were talking about, but I knew I wanted to know. So it's an homage to a series of fantasy novels called The Solar Cycle by a sci-fi author named Gene Wolfe. Just going to open up a reference drawing real quick. So it's Solar Cycle, Gene Wolfe. And it's a very trippy and philosophical series of novels, starting with a quartet called the Book of the New Sun, which has an epilogue novel called The Earth of the New Sun. That's Earth spelled with a U. And then a follow-up sequel sextet called I guess it's two trilogies, the Book of the Long Sun and the Book of the Short Sun. I recommend all of them. It took me a long time to read, but I don't regret it, and now I'm ready for the Book of Fooligan when that comes out. But all of this to say, these novels have really made me consider and reconsider and consider again the way we think about dreams. And I won't bore you with any more with all of the list of things that we talk about with that, but the idea that dreams are real, right? And dreams are dreams. Dreams aren't real. That's what you're saying in my head as I argue with you about this. But not really necessarily in the literal sense is a dream real, but it's something that exists within the space of reality, right? It's a creation of your brain. Your brain is real. Your thoughts are real. A dream is a real thing that exists. It doesn't necessarily exist in physical space, but the information created and stored in your head, on your brain, is a real thing. Much in the same way that a digital drawing, stored in an information file on a hard drive, which is the mechanical version of your brain, it's a real thing that can be accessed and pulled from and printed and etc., etc. So what's the difference, really? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't even know if what I say makes any sense, but this is just one of the ways that fiction can affect us. I'm a very skeptical person when it comes to your paranormal, supernatural sort of stuff. I know a lot of people in my community are perhaps a little bit more open-minded about that sort of thing than I am. Which is fine. I do embrace it because, quite frankly, it seems like a more interesting life. But I'm more inclined to side with Dana Scully than Fox Mulder, I suppose. Alright, adding something here to the drawing that is not in the original sketch, which is the little Hades insignia. This thing reminds me of the Special S. Who remembers the Special S? Oh, you're so cool. You can draw the Special S. Ooh! What the hell did I do? Curve ruler? Nope. So when I started this, this series of videos, which is to say the second recording session of this particular series as a whole, I didn't have any references up on the screen. You know, I have a second monitor that I leave my references on. And I didn't bring any up to start this because I said the rough pencil's already done, and now I'm just refining what I have done. I don't need to look at references anymore. I was wrong. As always, I encourage drawing from reference whenever possible. It improves your drawing, and it's not cheating. This is coming out pretty good. Get a couple areas where my lines were real thick. Trying to thin them out a little bit. The ghost arm. So, you know, I'm working my way down the drawing as I do this, and the path I'm going to follow here is the path of the foreground, and I'll come back for the, not really the background, the middle ground. of the figure. But we want the majority of the detail and the focus to be kind of pulled down this line from the head to the skull. So that's where we're going to put the majority of the focus in terms of like creating the most polished detail. And that's something that we're going to keep in mind throughout the process of doing the ink and the color as well. Being careful with my eraser. I use the kneaded eraser tool. I don't really like using a lot of like trad mimic tools in CSP, just because I can never really get them to look the way I want them to. But the one exception I will make is the kneaded eraser. I think is really good, and it's better than like a soft eraser, or it's way better than the hard eraser. First of all, from a pencil perspective, because the hard eraser leaves behind no artifacts whatsoever, and a soft eraser leaves behind artifacts, but it doesn't texture in quite the correct way. Whereas the kneaded eraser, I feel like, does a good job of mimicking what an actual kneaded eraser does on a piece of paper with a pencil. So I do use that tool to mimic that aspect of pencil drawing. Starting out with sketching is cheap. Art's an expensive hobby if you don't use your head when you're buying supplies, and it's an expensive lifestyle, an expensive career path if you don't use your head when you're buying supplies. And one of the first things, this drawing tablet that I've had for the past 10 years, because I've known for a long time that this is what I wanted to do with my life. It's funny because the story I always tell is like, oh, I was a late in life start to art. I didn't really understand what I wanted to do until later in life, but now I'm later in life, and I've known what I wanted to do for a long time. And so I got this tablet because my intention was that it was going to last me for a long time and I wasn't going to have to buy art supplies. And that's been correct. But again, if you're just trying to feel this stuff out, you're just getting started. Getting started with sketching is cheap. Here's what you need. You need a sketchbook of some sort. You don't need to buy an expensive one. Don't ever buy a Moleskine notebook. Don't ever buy a Moleskine notebook. That was like the stupidest thing that I was ever taught. And this was for writing, not for drawing. But when I was in college, a creative writing teacher was like, go out and buy a Moleskine notebook. It's the greatest tool you'll ever have as a writer. And don't, because they're so expensive. It's a brand name now. You pay like 10 times what the freaking notebook is worth because it says Moleskine on the label. So don't waste your money on crap like that. Buy a cheap sketchbook because you're learning, right? There is like nice paper that you might want to invest in at some point to do nice drawings, as it were. But when you're just sketching, you're just figuring stuff out, honestly, maybe the best value in art supplies as learning to do pencil is like buy yourself a ream of 8.5 by 11 printer paper or cardstock even. Stuff like that doesn't take ink well, but it's fine for penciling. So you're gonna get that. One thing I will recommend that, and again, it's not something that you're going to spend a lot of money on, but a kneaded eraser is an essential tool. It is the type of eraser that you need, and it's the kind of thing where it's like, I have one somewhere, but I don't. Hang on, pause. Okay, so I went and got my pencil case. I still have one. So you're going to want to get one of these. It's a kneaded eraser. When you get it, it looks like a block, but you work it in your hands like putty almost, and it turns into this blob. And you erase lines on paper with it, and it kind of does what I've been doing here in the program. Another thing you're going to want to get is a lead holder. This was like $6 when I bought it, I think, and you know, the piece of lead that comes with it will last you for quite a while. But if you need more, you know, you can buy refills, and they're pretty cheap too. And then you're gonna want a lead holder sharpener, which is just, you know, you have this kind of blunt piece of lead that comes out, and if you want to sharpen it to a point, there's a little thing that you drop and you stick it in there, and makes it sharp. Anyways, kneaded eraser, some kind of paper, lead sharpener, lead holder. Just put my stylus away in my pencil case. That'll be enough to get you started in a good direction. And if you can't afford a lead holder, and again, they're not cheap, but I know that, you know, sometimes people don't have a lot of money to throw around. I used to go to the dollar store and buy a box of mechanical pencils. They were crappy, they would break all the time, but it was like $1 for 50 of them. So that's enough sometimes. The thing about art supplies, and the thing about art in general, I was thinking about this. It's not that it ever gets easier. It's just that you get better at it. If that makes any kind of sense. It doesn't really get easier. It's still hard work. But you get better at it. So you put in the same amount of effort, but the stuff that comes out keeps getting better. Art's one of those things that it's like, if you don't like hard work, it's probably not for you. But if you don't mind doing hard work, you can be a great artist. That's really all it takes. And that's my time for today. So we're going to keep working on this. You know, it's slow going, but I'm talking to you. I'm enjoying myself. Hopefully you're enjoying it too. And when we get to the end of this, I think it's going to look pretty good. So, see you tomorrow.